on safe picks. You're not going to let him hide on Azir, just like, oh, I'm going to sit back and not do anything, hope the rest of my team, gets advantage on the other side of the map, and then just point and click for a while here, get a big ult off. Obviously, Azir is tougher to pilot than that, but they're not going to let him hide out on that pick.
Mm-hmm.
Hawk going to get the Thresh taken away as well, so PBO and Hawk not going to be able to run the Aphelios Thresh, if that is, in fact, what they wanted to do. But, they haven't really even played it quite that much, but Senna being taken away as well.
Wow.
Here. Interesting first few bans here. I like the Azir one. I'm not sure how I feel about the next two.
I mean, Pain is strictly targeting here. We're not seeing sort of meta targets. I mean, sure, Senna is meta. Let's make that clear. It is globally meta. But in CBLOL, we've not seen a lot of Senna. And what few Sennas we have seen haven't really seemed to be that dangerous here. The Zoe ban I like for Tenons because he is prone to first pick that. But Udyr is on the table. Is Skarner going to be the answer? I feel like, honestly, it's a better answer than Dr. Mundo so far.
Yeah, it's been much more consistent. Mundo, it's not that he's not viable or anything. It just seems like, as far as these run-at-you sort of junglers that can team fight and skirmish really well in the mid-game, Skarner offers just a lot more. Obviously, the ultimate is a game changer. He has so much speed that's a little bit more accessible and a lot more CC as well. And can pump out damage at a pretty nasty rate and isn't reliant on, healing and whatnot to be able to sustain himself. But Piloto will... I don't know about Hyde again. I want to just stop the explicitly negative energy towards Cruzeiro and the rookie here especially. But he is going to be on the Orianna, and Sting will grab himself a Graves.
Yeah, I feel like the Orianna pick is interesting because it's a safe pick. I think that's a good one for somebody who's new into the league here. Nice steady pick, which he's very comfortable on. But first picking it feels a little bit much here. Unless they think that Tenons is going to target that Orianna and really try and pinch out Piloto here. I don't know if I like seeing it quite so early. The Graves into Udyr, I think, is actually a fine matchup here. Udyr will eventually sort of outscale that Graves or just run at the Graves, and Graves can't do much. But at least in the early game, you can try and farm up. Alistair Galio already picked up here. So for the side of Pain Gaming, pardon me, a lot of supportive picks coming through, and that feels like, to me, they're going to put a lot of eggs into the BRTT basket again. I worry because BRTT he's very coin flippy. Either he shows up huge like that Jinx game, or he doesn't show up at all like his Samira games. But you know what? It's his birthday boy. I want to see BRTT pop off here.
Yeah, no, I mean, and maybe they're just giving him the opportunity to do so here. I do like the Galio pick into Orianna. That is one that Orianna struggles against picks that can get on top of her. And so, in that sense, I don't think it's a strict counter pick. Obviously, Galio, you don't pick Galio for a lane counter pick. You pick him for, global lane presence. And now the Braum comes in as well here.
Okay. Well, hold up. What is this Samira ban coming through from Cruzeiro? Do they not know BRTT stats on the Samira here? Granted, it's a scary pick with an Alistair and a Galio and a Udyr. Everybody's running in. Sure. Yeah, that looks scary. I agree with that. But this is BRTT's Samira here. I don't know about that. And they're going to continue pinching the ADC pool with the Xayah ban as well. For Cruzeiro, they get first pick here. They can take Kai'Sa. So I think Kai'Sa, maybe Pain bans that, or you leave that up. But either way, I'm not too worried. BRTT's played the game so long, he plays pretty much all the ADCs.
Yeah, I mean, it feels wild that we've gone, at this point, almost 16 picks or bans deep, and no Kai'Sa. That feels a little troll, to use a technical term, because she's so dang strong right now. Aphelios taken away as well. I feel like if you take away Thresh, you kind of implicitly take away Aphelios, but maybe that's overly simplistic.
I mean, they're still technically Tahm Kench, I guess, but I'm just more like... Aphelios is often used as... Xayah and Aphelios are sort of the counter picks to Kai'Sa here. Xayah because she's safe, and Aphelios because he's got a lot of range too with the right guns, and when you get up close and personal, if he's got Crescendo, he can just rip right through you. They did pick Kai'Sa! What is Cruzeiro doing? You know what? As you said, technical term, Cruzeiro trolling.
Well, PBO just playing what he knows, I guess. Him and Hawk went Jin Leona last game. And I get, look, in this divey of a comp, just grab the Kai'Sa. All right.
I mean, okay, so if BRTT had picked the Sivir, I wouldn't have screamed my head off quite as much because first of all, it is BRTT, and second of all, like the other ADC is already open. It's not like you're picking the Sivir into the Kai'Sa here. It is that Jhin, so I can conceivably see a world where the Sivir kind of works out. But yeah, I think the Kai'Sa just makes so much more sense. I love the Gnar pickup as well for Robo here. Gnar is such a strong champion. Again, it always comes down to the question, can you play around that rage bar? I don't know if Robo has necessarily proven himself, but he's quietly been very consistent here. So I am quietly optimistic for Robo. And it's going to be the Ornn. I was actually thinking maybe Vlad for Cruzeiro. I feel like that would actually work a lot better with the Orianna this time. They do have enough damage, but the Ornn tankiness, that's not a bad pick either. It is kind of not a good pick into the Gnar, though.
Yeah, I'm worried about the damage from Pain Gaming. Look, you've set up everything for BRTT on a platinum, on a diamond encrusted platter right now. That being said, it is a lot of eggs into one basket.
Mm-hmm. It is. And I feel like if you're going to do this, you need to basically babysit those eggs. So I want to see TPs into the bot lane, Karaoke just running down there. Tinon's level 6, Hero's Entrance immediately to the bot lane. That's what I want to see, because if you get BRTT rolling on this Kai'Sa here, then he can just shred anybody. But on the reverse side of this, I feel obliged to point out right now that BRTT has performed very poorly on short-range ADCs. And Kai'Sa is fairly short-ranged as an ADC here. On the Samira, I think he's 0 for 2 or 0 for 3 on that Samira right now. The Draven, which range is not super short, but still a little bit shorter and gets kind of close. He did not get his first kill until 30 minutes on a team that was trying to set up for him. And frankly, we're just absolutely dominating that game. So the Kai'Sa, I feel like you need to get him so far hit that when he does run into the enemy team 1v5, he can still kill people and get out alive.
Yeah. So it's the BRTT game. And
I'm down with that.
Yeah. And Jhin, Jhin Braum here, very defensive, very safe. Jhin with not a lot of mobility, but just an insane amount of range. Pretty good wave clear as well. So when the waves do come crashing in, he can just kind of yeet them right back. And a pretty all right team fight comp here for Cruzeiro here. But as the draft kind of shook out, woof. Couple of misclicks there. But look. So the fact of the matter is, look, it's the bot through and through. That is identified as just a winning condition for both these teams. Tinon's going that Predator Galio that he ran, I believe, last week as well. When BRTT was on the Jinx. But hey, look, he won, so whatever. And I do want to point out that you mentioned it. Robo has been quietly really consistent. I'm glad you mentioned it because he hasn't gotten a lot of love in the split so far, but he also hasn't gotten a lot of hate. So credit to him, really, especially as of late. He had a really good performance on the Camille last week, and that was immediately taken away in the bans. And then in a tough one against Loud, he still performed well. It was a loss, yes, but it was close. They only lost by 6K, only 5 kills down. They were able to trade towers pretty effectively, and he was good on that Rumble. So let's see here. Look, and he's been in the league long enough to where you like to think he can play around an Gnar rage bar because Gnar gets memed on a lot, but when it works, my gosh, does it work? It
does. And on top of that, it's a counter pick into the Ornn as well. Like the range on that Gnar is absolutely massive. I'm surprised Trucklax picked the Ornn into it. And that to me screams that Cruzeiro is really going for the team fights here because they just sacrificed Cruxlack, who looked like a win con here. The late invade, gonna get spotted out. Great warding from Pain to see this here. They aren't going to be able to mount a response, but maybe we see vertical jungling. There is a ward which would catch Karaoke going in to try and match the vertical jungle that steal away here.
And you see Robo playing into that counter matchup, right? Just going with the Doran's Blade. He is not going to take any prisoners here. Sting, just going right in on this left side of the map. Karaoke going to start his blue side, and the pings come down into that top side. So maybe you do see a little bit of vertical jungling in response, and I think that's what you got to do. If nothing else, giving you a pretty good shot at that top side scuttle, as Sting is probably going to do the same on the other side here.
And when you vertical jungle, you always have to keep in mind that does mean that whichever side you choose to vertical jungle on is going to have an advantage. So Pain will have a disadvantage on the bot side. BRTT and Lucy will not have any backup and will have to be careful, potentially for taking too much poke and enabling a level 2 dive here. Whereas on the top side, Robo has to be Trucklack has to be super careful of a gank from Karaoke from behind, mid lane as well. Both mid laners have to be super careful. And we're seeing that Tinons is the one feeling more confident here, is pushing out, is playing aggressively.
He does have a little bit more escape with the Justice Punch. And Trucklax can, keep himself safe as well. I don't think we're going to see any level, 2 or 3 dives here, but Graves with a good smoke screen. And if you can get that Q into the wall, you can deal out some sneaky damage as well. We'll see if the dive is coming on either side here. Yeah, Tinons does have to be careful, but I think he knows kind of where both junglers are. He knows that those scuttles are coming up in Abyss. That's going to be kind of the point of focus before him. So as far as an unwarded mid lane, it's not too bad.
Yeah, for sure. And I really like that the vertical jungle worked for Cruzeiro. They initiated it and it's working because PBO is up in terms of CS and they're up in terms of pressure as well. One thing a stat that I noticed, which I found was quite painful, is that PBO is actually the lowest damage per minute ADC right now out of the entire CBLOL. So against a team which is putting all their eggs into that BRTT basket here, you do need to try and make sure PBO does not let BRTT get a free lane. You want to put as much pressure down as you can right away.
Yeah, and Tinons, speaking of putting pressure on, just immediately back TP'd with Predator boots.
Wow.
So he is trying to,
I love it.
It's all gas, no brakes for Tinons. And usually you don't see that out of a Galio mid pick, but we talked about it. Is here bot lane attention here. Sting, level 4 now with the blue buff. In goes Hawk. Lucy has to flash away. And flashing in as well. One more auto to do it. There's the Jhin follow-up route. One more auto will do it indeed. Sting Hawk takes the tower shot instead. Throws out I guess it's like a wafer sort of deal. Now Tinon's going to respond immediately. All gas, no brakes, going in. Robo bouncing over. Trucklash. One more auto. What a well-done dive. A pair of snap decision-making dives from both teams.
Really, really solid there. And that bot lane, they almost managed to get the kill onto Sting as well. If they had done that, huge win for the side of Pain. And I like the fact that they gave the kill over to Robo as well, because this side lane now, Robo can potentially just take over, can just sort of become that menace, that split pusher here. And BRTT tried to save Lucy as best he could right there. Stood in front of the Deadly First, took everything, but you can't stop it. You're not a Braum. You're a Kaisa. And just getting out alive, I feel like, is already an accomplishment. One of the stats is that Lucy right now is one of the highest deaths in the league, 3rd highest. It was Sting, I believe 2 weeks ago, was number 1. Sting is now number 4, and actually Lucy has overtaken at 4.3 average deaths a game. So this bot lane right now, Lucy on track to continue that record.
And they know, I mean, that's kind of just compositionally how they've set up. I mean, when you just blatantly put all these eggs into the basket of BRTT and Lucy, look, you're going to get dove a bunch. You're going to get a lot of attention focused onto you, and Lucy's going to have to be the sacrificial lamb more often than not.
Oh, Lucy.
We're going to spot out Lucy. Was that drop? Who was that drop by? That was pretty recent. I guess that was maybe Sting kind of on his way out of the vertical jungling, but Control Ward on his way out as well for Lucy. Setting up for this first dragon. Sting and company going to start it up, and they should be able to take it with relatively little contest. Piloto putting on the pressure here as well. Karaoke walking right through the ward. He doesn't care. He's level 6, and he goes with the flash over. And here comes the hero's entrance, pulling the trigger immediately, and they are going to swipe it away.
Okay, I often call Udyr Rocket Man because he just runs at you, but usually that's to try and find kills. He's now just running straight at dragons, flashing over the ball, zero hesitation whatsoever. And Tinons is the man making this happen here. That hero's entrance allows him the comfort to be able to do that. Top side.
Horn gonna connect with the real proc. How about Trucklax? He goes, counterpick my big rocky behind.
That sense of timing from Trucklax as well was absolutely perfect. Piloto just getting bullied down a little bit here, should be able to get away, but that is flash blown in the mid lane. And I want to go back to top lane because Trucklax, that timing, if he was still Mega, maybe Robo gets out. But Mini, not enough stats, and you can see that huge burst there just from the Q, that volcanic rupture. It doesn't do that much damage, but against the Mininar, it's enough.
Yeah, exactly. No, and Trucklax, he's knowing his limits on this champion, playing defensive enough to kind of outlast, the big Gnar, positioning himself well, knows with that rage bar ticking down, okay, now is when we call in the ultimate, the call of the Forge God, not just popping it immediately in kind of in a panicky way.
Mm-hmm. props to Piloto as well. Is actually, even in terms of CS with Tin Owns, has not died despite the pressure that they have been putting down. And for the bot lane as well of Cruzeiro, they are leveraging their leads
Yeah.
fairly well here. Lucy? Oh,
Going
unbreakable.
right in here. Able to get the stun. Now here comes Tin Owns. Flashing in. Gonna get the taunt off.
There we
And
go.
Jin down. This is the turn they wanted. How about Tin Owns? Make it plays happen all over the dang map. He's so quick with the Predator boots. He's got the threat of the TP, the ultimate as well. He doesn't even need any of those because he's just so dang fast and so decisive.
Hawk with the question mark emote as well, wondering why nobody came for him. And BRTT gets the kill credit.
That's so tough. Robo bouncing over.
Oh.
The shockwave isn't going to do anything in Tin Owns. My gosh. Facilitated a kill in the bot lane, came right back up and just smushed Piloto under his thumb.
I guess Hawk isn't the fastest bird on the Rift right now. That Birdio Galio getting a lot more action here. And I want to point out right now, Tin Owns 1-0 and 2 has the highest KP. Karaoke, who's the jungler, has 0 KP. 0, 0, and 0 right now. We often talk about Rocket Man zipping around. He's completely objective focused this game. Forget the kills.
And to his credit, right? Him and his team have worked around that pretty well. He was able to swipe that first dragon away, right? Sting should have been able to melt that down pretty quickly there. But Karaoke, like you said, just Rocket Man, just full steam ahead, dove into the pit and swiped it. Robo blew the big Gnar immediately, I guess, just to firmly be able to crash down this wave.
Yeah, the cooldown on Mega Gnar is fairly short there, so Robo is going to be fine. And in lane against the Ornn here, Mini Gnar is actually the abusive form there because you can poke from range. It is that range versus melee matchup. So Robo going to be happy to blow that as long as he doesn't need to be with the rest of the team. And without teleport, without major objectives coming up in the next minute, he's going to be perfectly fine doing that over here. Just go in Mega anytime just to poke things down. Is this going to be the first gank from Karaoke? Probably not. That's wards.
Yeah, one more doesn't spot him, but the second one, yep, okay. Just going to take that down. Dragon not up for another minute 25, but a little extra vision. It never hurt anybody. I'm not going to try the counter jungling, I guess. Yeah, do they know where Sting is? Maybe they saw Sting come up there beforehand. Not going to try to invade it, but they also know that the priority is around that mid lane. There goes
PBO and Hawk.
Ooh, and now PBO able to get a snipe here, but really it was Piloto that picked up the kill here and providing extra firepower from the brush is PBO. Now Piloto going to get himself a plate.
Yeah, really solid rotations from the bot lane of Cruzeiro. It barely even takes them a detour at all here because they were coming out of base. So great pickup from them. Karaoke still 0, 0, and 0. And as long as Tin Owns is off the map here, the whole of Cruzeiro can breathe a small sigh of relief because really it's been the story of Tin Owns.
Out goes the Glacial Fissure. Piloto, is the rotation good enough? Hawk did his darndest. The Piloto with a slight overstay getting punished.
Oh, now Robo's in trouble.
He's got the big Gnar. Is he able to do anything with it? No, he just gets bursted down there by Sting. He says, good job, buddy. You did good. Go be free.
And they drop Herald into the mid lane again. You know what? I'll give this a passing grade, like a B.
Yeah,
it's not ideal, but yeah, it's okay. They wanted to get the pressure. They want to draw people down. And Cruzeiro firing back pretty well. This game, it's a lot more even, I think, than most people would have given it here. I think we expected Pain to be able to abuse that mid lane, get a huge lead. And Tin Owns has lived up to expectations with getting a whole bunch of ganks off, but they're really not that far behind. And Cruzeiro has been able to answer very, very well in the side lane, so all that pressure from the mid lane.
Yeah, no, and yeah, like you said, they've been able to answer, and it's good to see Sting, getting on the board as well, being up there, helping that top side. Trucklax already onto his mythic item. Robo is the same. He's got the Stride Breaker going. Trucklax starting in the Inspiration Tree secondarily, or actually, no, I guess primarily. He's got the Unsealed Spellbook here. But he's got the Magical Boots as well. Sting has no boots. And Karaoke, yeah, which, I mean, I guess boots are good because they help you clear faster, but he could do enough damage on his own to be able to facilitate with that clear speed. Karaoke, meanwhile, just rushing into those boots. Mythic item be damned.
Yeah, he wants both the boots and the Turbo Chem Tank to really start zipping around there, doing all the work. So I'm sure he'll pick that up shortly for now. And Robo was starting to just ignore Trucklax in favor of this turn. And you know what? I like it because you want to take that down. You want to apply side lane pressure because in a team fight, that's where I get concerned for the Gnar because team fights is where he needs to shine. And Ornn has such an easier time in team fights. Just press R, basically. And then maybe press E, W if you're feeling a bit spicy there. Whereas Gnar has to play that rage bar perfectly. Sting.
Didn't blow the shockwave yet. Did Piloto. Brings the ball back. Throws it out again.
TP
And now
from
we're looking for it last. Here comes the TP from Trucklax. BRTT in the side there. Immediately presses R. Like you said, RMC, it's just that easy. Sometimes Shockwave helping with the assist. The curtain call coming out as well. Piloto picking up a kill. Trucklax, is he going to survive this? One more kick of it. I think he will. He will get off. Maybe not scot-free, but pretty dang close. PBO. Not going to get jumped on just yet. Able to pop the heal and reposition himself. Buy him a little more time.
Okay, and before that was the second test. First test was your Herald. Second test was Robo, and he kind of failed it here. Did not get the Mega Gnar set up properly here. Showed up to that fight and basically had to act as a backline. No front line to go in, none to take use of anything. And now he's zoning, but it's I feel like it's a little too late there. They didn't manage to get what they wanted off the back of that fight. That's it. They do get some plates off this bottom turret. He's got 7 seconds. No, he doesn't get a plate off of it.
That's unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, Jin, yeah, with PBO, he could just zone you right off it. And if PBO, or if rather Robo wants to dive onto PBO and Hawk, they can play around that pretty nicely. Chem Tank coming in now for Karaoke. Meanwhile, Sting's sitting on a lot of gold here, most likely. He's been holding on to the Noon Quiver, Dirk, and Vamp Scepter for a while here. You see the turret plating gold. Definitely in the favor of Pain. Herald helped that out a little bit. Bot lane didn't really get a ton done there. I think a lot of the credit has to go to Robo.
Yep. Mostly for those plates, yeah, because that wasn't the Herald that was using the top side. That was just all Robo's pressure. Yeah. And he's doing great in the 1v1, which is nice in the Gnar, but it's still the team fights you have to get down to. And Robo, unfortunately, is not part of the winners club when it comes to Gnar here. He has played Gnar once before, but he lost on it here. And I think maybe this is why, like, the rage bar bit of it is the difficult part. And that's going to be huge come the later parts of the game here. Robo going in again.
Piloto burning the flash and the shockwave. But you're more than okay with that. We'll survive. Still be ahead, actually, now in CS into Tinones. And now with that little bit of pressure created, going for that 15-minute Herald, which I appreciate that, second Herald, as controversial as it is, when you go for it kind of at that 15-minute mark, it's relatively, and do it in a relatively low-risk way, it's never a bad thing. If you do it with those parameters, which are tougher to set up, but I don't feel like we've seen, at least not this split. Maybe you could split to, or not this week, maybe you could speak to last week, if there have been some questionable second Herald takes.
Oh, there definitely have been here. Sometimes teams over-prioritize it, but in this case, for Pain, there's literally no cost to it. There's nothing else for them to be doing. Maybe they could have sent Robo to the bot side, I feel like is my only complaint, but that really wasn't an issue of opportunity cost for that Herald. That's just them not doing that and letting Trucklax get a free turret. They get 2 turrets of their own, though, which is good. I don't mind that second Herald use dropping immediately to crack the mid lane turret. They do want to open up the map a little bit, I feel, to try and allow themselves to do a little bit more, give themselves a couple more free lanes here. Robo not going to get there in time, and Dragon in about 10 seconds here. They're hunting for the isolated members of Pain who are not grouped up yet.
No, not quite yet. Cruzeiro working as 5 right before this attempt at the Dragon.
Pain's not exactly in position here. They have no vision. It's all red in the river here.
Well, Robo's looking for a flank. He's got the Mega Gnar. Here we go. Ult comes out from Trucklax. Flashing right in is Tinones. He's going to go in with that Hero's entrance. Really not a ton to do. Mega Gnar not really finding a ton. PBO is down. He will survive. Piloto going down instead. It was all red in the river. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. There was no one even to pick. No health bars were low enough. Okay. Pain were able to get their 3rd straight Drake here.
Okay, and I love the fact that Robo went Mega before he even got into the fight. It's not optimal, but better early than late in terms of Mega Gnar there, because at least he got into the fight. He was tanky enough. And Tinones really made that fight happen here. I hope we do get a replay because that hero's entrance was really kind of what worked. I was so scared for Lucy going in, even with the unbreakable will right now. It only sat on that Bomby Cinder. It is kind of weak, and we do excellently get a replay. So I was scared here when Lucy went in. I thought he was going to be dead, but watch that hero's entrance, catches 3 and blows PBO's flash. So PBO autoed, I think, once that entire fight. And with Jin, sure, you know, even once he's out the fight, he can still contribute with that curtain call. But what is this?
Yeah, I do not know.
It had to be a misclick. Like, there was literally no one there. Dragon is obviously the objective on the table. So really, really rough. And more importantly, PRTT got a bunch of kills in that fight. He is now online here. This Kaisa assassin into the back line might be viable.
Yeah, 4-0 for BRTT. Sting went into that Immortal Shield Bow looking for a little more survivability. He knows that it is just dive and blow him up because he knows he's a valuable source of damage here. PBO playing kind of a little bit defensively here with a potential reposition with the Gale Force still really strong after that nerf, going from 60 to 90 seconds, but the reposition is still so good and the base stats are good enough as well. Swifties, nothing new for Jin. On top of that here, yeah, Pain seemed to be taking control of this game, up 3,500 gold, and BRTT now as a legitimate carry threat. Kraken Slayer online as well. Going to be able to shoot right through the front line if he has to, but able to get to the back line as well.
And right now, I feel like the advantages coming through for Pain has a lot to do with their draft and the fact that they did give themselves a bit more options other than just straight team fight here. Sting getting caught out. Lucy, no knockup? Okay, no pulverize coming through. That's fine. We'll go back to what I was talking about. The options coming through for Pain here with the Udyr, with the Gnar. They can split push, and that's really been where they're getting the pressure. Cruzeiro is stuck in team fighting. That's all they have. You have an Orianna, an Ornn here, you know, with the Braum. Jin's also very immobile. He's not going to safely split push. You have to team fight, and they've been trying to set that up. Their vision actually has been really good setting up for fights. They're usually first one to the area. They ward their flanks to make sure that they don't get Karaoke running in the side or Robo just hopping in from behind here. They've done a great job of it, but they just can't push very well into the likes of Pain Gaming without some sort of aid like a Herald, like a Baron buff here. They just can't siege, and that's what's costing them and letting Pain find rotations, find initiative.
Yeah, because they do have that ability to potentially siege. It's not a straight siege comp, but I mean, Piloto can clear waves pretty well. Sting has good clear. PBO can poke out a little bit, but it is Pain Gaming kind of asking the questions, and we'll see if they get forced into a direct siege situation, which I imagine will probably happen if they're able to take this Baron, start to break open the base. We'll see how well that can come online.
Oh.
But as far as creating advantages in this mid game, I agree with you, RMC. It's going to be really, really tough to make it happen. PBO just got the curtain call immediately. Robo, 2/3 of the way in. He just goes right up to PBO, but it might get caught out here. Tries to leap over the wall. Gets stunned, has to flash away, and into Mega Gnar he goes, but doesn't have enough help to follow it up. Trucklax throws out the Ornn Horn, not going to be able to find anyone, but they get the disengage off of the Baron. A couple big ultimates burn. Lucy looking for a cheeky flank. Where in God's green earth did this cow come from? In he goes.
Here we go.
There goes the touch as well. Hero's entrance in. That's the combo they were looking for. Just those two abilities are enough to turn the fight and give BRTT 2 more kills.
And just for that mission impossible pulled off by Lucy there, I'm willing to forgive him all his laning sins there. Coming in from behind, and he's looking to potentially pull it off again. Has to be careful. No unbreakable will this time. He might get burst down here.
Oh. Let's see. Ooh, flashes away from the dive there.
BRTT.
Is he enough? No, it is not. But with the hero's entrance, or not the hero's entrance, excuse me, the Winds of War able to pick up a kill there. And Karaoke going to help kind of just hold out of the Baron here for a while. He's in trouble here. Going to get maybe a little bit of a shield, and the damage should be enough for Pain to finally secure this long-awaited Baron.
So Lucy now found a way to salvage what originally was a really, really bad fight because Robo again was late on the Mega there. Did not turn Mega until basically he was already half health, chunked out, had to run. And then after that, on that Baron stall, on that Baron defense there, he goes and he dies for it, but he gets 2 kills. So Lucy doing work in this mid game here. And once again, BRTT counter 7-0-1 here. It's not flashy. It's not the hero's entrance. It's not that huge 4-man Gnar stun, and it's not the Alistair engage. But 7-0-1 in the backline is something that Cruzeiro needs to track right now. Tinones on the flank.
No ult, maybe no problem. He's got one Cloud Drake. Trucklax misses the headbutt. Now looking for it. Oh, gets a 3-man taunt there. Shockwave is going to help disrupt it, but the combo's just too much. Robo in on Meganar. Didn't even need the ultimate. Rather used it a little bit earlier, excuse me. And now flashing it again. Tinones just being that frontliner, being that playmaker as he has been all game. In goes BRTT with the killer instinct. And with this Baron buff, they're able to create pressure, get off this dragon. They're not even, I mean, they're going to get this, go for soul. There are plenty of objectives to be taken, and they've got the resources to do so.
Tinones is right now. Tinones to me is 100% MVP. I don't care that all the kills are going to BRTT. I don't care that he's got 0 deaths right now. This is a birthday present to BRTT right now. You said it best 4x4 when you said that he's being served up this game on a diamond encrusted platter right now. BRTT literally just has to walk in there, auto attack move, right click, whatever you want to do, just go in there. He doesn't even have to use abilities. The abilities are just making things look cleaner here. But Tinones with these flanks, with these engages, with these follow-ups have just been the make it or break it member of this team.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they've got so many options here, right? We talk about, Robo, he hasn't even had, that like flashy big Meganar play, but I appreciate that they're not just over-indexing into, all right, if Robo can't pull off a Meganar, we're up the creek without a paddle. No, Tinones and Lucy are working together very well. Karaoke, once in, can apply a lot of CC. And Robo building a good kind of, he can reposition himself with the Stride Breaker as well, just get up close and personal. Really, really beefy, provides so much utility without needing the damage, and it's all BRTT. So to maybe try to re-ask a question that you were kind of alluding to earlier, RMC Cruzeiro, right? You talk about, okay, you've got so many things to track, and also BRTT is 9-0 just by the by. What are you supposed to do here?
Cruzeiro needed to start pulling the trigger sooner there. You've got Trucklax with the Ornhorn here, and they've tried a couple of times, but you absolutely need to do that sooner. Now you're really far behind, and Jhin is not an ADC that plays great from behind here, especially not when there's so much frontlined. So again, you just got to keep doing what you've got to do. And this time I want to see Sting come in from a different angle. Don't try and play front to back necessarily. Piloto has actually done a great job so far. Those shockwaves have been huge, but it's not enough necessarily by itself here. So you don't win. Well, maybe under turret, you might be able to find something here, but spread out. First of all, you want to catch them bunched up. You don't have to be bunched up yourself here. And I feel like that's been the biggest detriment to them. So that's step number 1. And number 2, try and find a flank.
Yeah, I mean, if you're bunched up, that's exactly what Pain won. We've seen how poorly that has gone for Cruzeiro when they've fought in these kind of enclosed spaces. Just big ult combos, big heroes entrances. Now with the lane assignments looking all right here. BRTT able to just shred, clear waves. Karaoke kind of supporting him, preventing any sort of picks. Trucklax doing his darndest. I think this is going to be 2 inhibs here, RMC.
Yeah, I mean, one inhib is already down, and they can't really force this. So Trucklax wants to force the fights in choke points, like the entrance of the base, preferably when that turret's up. In your base, there's just so much space. It's hard for the Ornhorn to hit everybody, and Pain's been doing a pretty good job at spreading out. And I don't want to call it early, but I really do think right now it's Pain's game, and they're not likely to lose this one here. They have been playing fairly clean at this point.
Yeah, it's been really, really clean from Pain, and if they, barring a miracle comeback by Cruzeiro, I mean, it's just Pain gave them no options from that first steal there. Oh, that was tough from Robo. But look, they've got enough damage here to be able to maybe triple inhib this Karaoke, punishing a missed headbutt there from Trucklax. Shockwave went out, really didn't do much. They're just playing this slow, bleeding them out. They're not playing it passive. They're just playing it intelligently. There is a difference here.
Yeah, and that's all they have to do. They already blew the shockwave from Piloto, so there's not going to be that big turnaround. Ornhorn also went down there. Basically all the outs, except for the collateral damage is down. So
all right, Trucklax gets a knockout. This is BRTT goes down in the blink of an eye, and now Karaoke and company saying, you know what, we got what we came for. It's a bummer that our ADC couldn't get the stat pad he wanted, but my gosh, he got popped. Good on Trucklax and company.
Yeah, I mean, he is very, very squishy, so has to be super careful about that sort of stuff there. And unfortunately, the team was trying to threaten on the other side. BRTT overstepped a little bit, did give over a huge fat bounty as well. So game isn't over yet, but really in the grand scheme of things, that one kill doesn't change the situation. Baron is coming up 15 seconds right now. Your triple inhibs down, double super minions coming in every lane here. Cruzeiro can't actually leave the base. Free Baron, you pick that up, you walk in with the super minions. You should be A-okay to close this one out. Just make sure BBRTT doesn't get caught, because he's still the bulk of your damage and your main turret taking force.
Yeah, you need him to help melt down objectives, like, say, a Baron. Well, maybe not need him, but if this was contested in any way, you would need him. But they can slow play this with triple inhibs. They've got Cruzeiro locked into their own base at 28 minutes. I mean, this has been a just absolutely monstrous performance from Pain in the last, really, 8 minutes. Aside from that pick there on the BRTT, there's been nothing Cruzeiro could do.
Yeah, it's just been played so cleanly here, so well. Love to see it here in terms of what they're able to do, and it's just the final victory lap, pretty much. Now my biggest question is, are they going to try and pad their stats? And actually, no, that's the wrong question. It's not are they going to pad their stats, but are they going to be able to pad their stats here? Because they're definitely going to try.
Yep, that second Nexus turret not looking too great now. Triple inhibs, Baron buff. Oh, and the Ornhorn doesn't find anyone. Lucy going behind the Nexus, and there's that 1-2 punch. Hero's entrance in. Shockwave does literally nothing, and they are just mowing over Cruzeiro. Just going to try to bar them into the Nexus. Is Robo. That is the way the cookie crumble. Pain Gaming, a big win for them. Move it to 5-6 and keep pace in the playoff hunt.